Welcome back to Wario Land II. So now that we've done the first of the branching stories, let's check out the other one. This is an alternate second chapter to the game. Instead of going through the woods thingies, instead we have this thing where, let's just say, well, first of all, let's just get to the alternate exit. Basically, there's an alternate exit somewhere in this stage. Find it and you will find your branching storyline.
I think we did notice the first time we went.
Yeah, we did.
Can we get to the chapter where Risky Boots' his mother finally decides this is not worth it and just goes home?
Wrong franchise.
No. Remember his headcanon that Risky Boots' mother is Captain Syrup and the father is Wario.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, but that's his own fan fiction. So.
Well, I mean, it would make sense. He's a pirate who goes around all the time. He's probably slept around with people and ended up having a child at some point. And then
question is...
And then Risky Boots, not Risky Boots, sorry. And then the Syrup just forgets about her because he's a pirate, y'all.
I don't know, Dweebs, if the Shantae fandom is anything to go by, Risky gets shipped with Shantae only. Rivalry and everything.
Well, okay. To be fair, he's saying that Syrup sleeps around.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This fanfiction is so complex, but I need to understand it better.
Yeah. You see, I probably gave more lore than Way Forward us.
Although, okay, only thing I'd have to wonder is, why did Syrup's daughter end up having purple skin? Is it like Wicked, where she drank something and that caused the daughter to have
she slept around.
Still got the treasure and the numb.
She slept with a guy that had the same colored skin.
Yeah, we already got the.
So you're telling me that Syrup slept with Thanos and that produced Risky?
Sure, why not?
And then, I mean.
Dwebs, your fanfiction is way too disturbing, so I'm gonna have to stop you there. Anyway,
no, I'm not done.
You're done, Dwebs. Hold on. So the treasures are stolen, but however, this time instead of leaving the castle through the front door, they've decided that this time they're going to go into Wario's cellar. I failed to realize how exactly they think this is a good plan. But
maybe they got lost.
As he expects. And yeah, maybe they got lost.
Ma'am, did you say to take a right or a left turn at the door at the kitchen?
The right turn.
We took the right turn. We still got lost.
Spearmen.
No, not that right turn, you doofuses.
Syrup.
What are we gonna do now?
Syrup has a lot of these too, apparently.
I mean, at least the DDD kind of makes sense when he has an entire army of Waddle Dees at disposal. I mean, they even make fun of that in the anime multiple times, but come on, Syrup, you can give a bit of better salary.
Remember, Teo, the spearmen are basically Wario's Goombas. So
yeah. For a second there, I thought you were gonna add to me fanfiction have so that Syrup slept with DDD, and I'm like, ew, no.
No, please. Honestly, if there's something that the anime has told me, well, not much the games, because as the games go by, it becomes softer, we'll just say that. But if the anime has anything told me, if anything, is that the only person that DDD loves is, of course, himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably cloned himself, and...
Yeah, it's like that image without Dr. Eggman. My own clone, now none of us will be virgin.
Was that from Sonic Boom?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure Sonic Boom. I'm pretty sure Sonic Boom never made a joke that literally said that word specific. It's a show for kids.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Also, what kind of cellar is this? It looks more like a mine shaft.
It's video game. You see, Teo, there's a difference between real life sellers and video game sellers. Video game seller is when the game designer uses the cellar as an excuse to make an underground level that spans miles and miles wide for reasons that don't make a lick of sense, basically.
I mean, remember, this is technically, I think, still Mario's castle.
Okay, if these goons were just throwing coins around everywhere, how did they get there? Did they repair the blocks?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
It's like I saw this.
All right, treasure time.
I read this fan comic. Not surprisingly, it's not from Neodos. about soccer ones, about in Avatar. You know, in Avatar where they go back to Aang's old temple, and it only turns out all the people there are dead.
Well, yeah.
Or were wiped out. And the soccer one just thought itself, how come the temple looks all nice and repaired, and then it cuts to the Fire Nation going, alright everyone, I know we murdered a bunch of people, it doesn't mean we have to be dicks about it. Let's repair the temple.
A torch, yes.
It looked actually.
I mean, for an abandoned mineshaft, kind of makes sense, I guess.
It looked better than before the Fire Nation came.
You see,
good question.
You see,
anyway, that torch actually looked more like Ashley's wand.
Sorry, Joe, we're not there yet.
You see, Teo, when it comes to figuring out these quirks, you have to basically, Teo, think like a game designer. Let's take, for example, a shovel. Okay, Teo, we're in a video game and we have a shovel. What's the shovel for?
According to Yacht Club Games, pogoing on people.
Oh, okay,
and using as a sword.
Oh, exactly. Thanks, Jova. You see, no, Teo, you have to think like a designer. It's a stick with a piece of metal. It's a stick with a piece of metal on its tip. What do you use that for?
Actually, it's kind of more common than you think. But,
no. That's why I'm saying you have to think like a designer. When a designer when you see a shovel, Teo, you see a digging tool. When a game designer sees a shovel, he sees a stick with a piece of metal that you can use to whack people with it. And shovel knights.
Again, one of the and kind of feeling bad just for saying this, but one of the better episodes of Game Theory revolves around. Explaining how the shovel was actually used as a common bludgeoning tool during, for example, the wars, because it was easy to access, it had multiple uses, and was durable. That's why also the American Army invented like a folding version of it, one that you can fold into 3 pieces and then folding back together.
Yeah. One of the best.
Handy.
Well, to use an actual game that we've played too. One of the best examples is that Roberto Williams is one of the ones that were the most guilty of this thing.
Yeah.
For example, we have a cane in King's Quest VII. What are canes usually used for? So that old people or even people who have any kind of problem with an injury on the leg or something, and they can walk better, right? But no. However, here's how Roberto sees it. It's a stick that in the shape of a hook, so I use that to pull things to me. Hence, I need the cane so I can pull the thing from the fountain instead of just bending over. Again, you have to understand too, that game designers see things in a completely different mentality than normal people. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then there are the guys who made Ghosts and Goblins, which I really am interested to know what their logic was for the weapon design.
Oh god, I think their inspiration was drugs on that one.
And
I don't know.
Lots of Castlevania.
Oh boy, yes.
Hey, the Medusa head pattern was really cool. Let's apply that to one of the most useless weapons in the entire game. Seriously, I think the only usage that you get from the flame is maybe because it's a bit more effective against the unicorn, but I don't think so. Just use a knife, like some Comic Johnny said. It resolves most of your problems.
That's not a knife. The knife he once found under a rock. Now that was a knife.
Yeah.
Alright.
So what pieces are destroyable and which not?
Well, that's the thing too. You have to experiment. The obligatory ones that you need to get, they're usually very easy to figure out. But when it comes to finding out hidden treasure and shit like that, yeah, you have to basically experiment and see if you can find.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, Stealth Wario. Oh, there it is.
There's the giant Spider-Man. Sorry, Spearman.
There we go. Still pathetic as usual.
Well, he may be a big evil Goomba, but at the end of the day, he's still an evil Goomba.
He's a Goomba with a bandana.
Yeah.
Or a Waddle Dee without a spear.
It's the same thing.
Let's guess the number.
It's the same thing when you go into the giant lands of either Galaxy 2 or Super Mario Brothers 3. They're big Goombas, but they're still Goombas.
5.
Are you sure, Lips?
9? No, it can't be 8.
There you go.
There you go.
There.
Well, yeah. Don't
indeed.
listen to Dwibs.
Well, Dwibs, you could have been right still. It's just that those were the two major guesses.
Actually, no, Theo. I opened the panel that specifically disproved the possibility of 5 because there was one particular panel that showed that there was a white space where it shouldn't be.
Avoid the rocks.
AKA get to the exit. The major gimmick is there are falling rocks.
Day 87. During my pursuit of Captain Syrup and her minions, I discovered a strange book called Syrup's Diary.
Oh no, please.
A particular excerpt from it really interested me. Day 85, it said.
What's this music?
On my journey to Wario's castle, I uncovered a curious thing from one of my subordinates. It turned out that subordinate was secretly feeding information to me. To Wario, in that case.
Wait, hold on. So he was feeding information to you, but you weren't even aware of it? How does that even work?
Yes,
he's kind of done it that way.
Well, that and also I recently changed my sending address. Instead of sending it to my main hall, I had it sent to my attic. And I don't go to my attic that often, so I never read the post.
How do you get mail sent to your attic?
It drops through the front. It drops through the top window.
So yeah,
so
those
you
holes.
Get your messages from carrier owls.
Those alternate between normal small rocks that you can use like enemies, or big rocks that squish you into a pancake form, so you can squeeze through tiny little gaps.
Lovely.
Wow, what did you think the diary extract was gonna be? I highly doubt Captain Syrup is the kind of person who would detail her sex life in her diary, considering she doesn't have one except for that one tonight.
She's a Nintendo character. Nintendo characters are, unless it's something like Xenoblade characters or something, they're usually not allowed to have sex lives.
And yes, I know.
Bayonetta.
And yes, I know.
That's a Platinum character. She's not owned by Nintendo.
She is pretty much a Nintendo exclusive, and let's not forget. Funnily enough, it was Nintendo that actually wanted her to have the most sexy outfit.
Well, here's the thing, Joe. Here's the thing, Joe. When I say that, I mean Nintendo-owned characters. The truth of the matter is that Platinum is still in creative control because it's their IP, whereas when it comes to something like Wario, no, you can't do that.
And yes, I know I said earlier she sleeps around, but
well, in that case,
I only found that out after I found the diary.
Well, in that case, then, Pedro, Exhibit A, Fire Emblem, which pretty much becomes the very
fine. I guess Fire Emblem is the exception. Keep in mind, it was a Japanese exclusive franchise back in the day, but now, yeah, Super Smash Bros. has that effect, basically.
Yeah, let's not forget, with Fire Emblem Fates, you can literally drop your kid off just to go into a time portal so you can skirt across your responsibilities of being a parent and conveniently pick up your child after they're grown.
Hopefully now with Smash Ultimate, more people, and from what I'm seeing, yeah, there are more people out there trying to the Dragon Quest series because of the Smash inclusion. Hopefully that will give a much needed push.
Basically, here's how it goes. Get into Smash, profit. I mean, I've yet... Once you get into Smash, you are officially a part of a museum of gaming history. Even if you don't come back for the next Smash. It
kinda rings true for the Xenoblade franchise, because if you don't remember a bit of history, when the original came out, Nintendo had no plans of localizing it in America, hence why it also has the bright push.
The localization was actually handled by Nintendo of Europe. It was Shibata who took the initiative.
Because it was only aimed at Europe audience. However, and I'm actually kind of glad that I was part of, well, not full part of it, but it was there and I saw it happening. The Operation Rainfall movement started during those years. We were on the social medias of that back then, when they weren't, this crowded like today.
For those who don't know, Operation Rainfall.
I'm about to explain. There was a movement, sort of a moving petition, non-violent, obviously non-harassing, asking the localization for America of 3 specific Wii games. The Last Story, the one of Sakaguchi, Pandora's Tower, one where Tetsuya Nomura was the character designer, and Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles was the last of them that was actually localized. It took a long time before Nintendo actually ported it to America. Mind you, it didn't really need to, because they could have easily just copy-pasted the English version and be done with it. They were generally not thinking the American audience was that interested in a game like Xenoblade Chronicles. It kind of rings true because in the past some JRPGs were proven to be, not as popular in America as they were in Europe for Nintendo, so we weren't exactly sure this would have happened. But we managed to eventually did, and it was still a success. Then Shulk managed to get in Smash, and combine that with the previous thing, they managed to kickstart basically having Xenoblade as maybe not one of the big boys, but definitely second tier in the Nintendo family.
Well, at this point, it's pretty much Nintendo's big JRPG franchise.
Technically speaking, Fire Emblem counts.
Well, talking about the more. Well, okay, that's more. That one is a bit more not. Okay, when it comes to the more traditional type of JRPGs, I know that technically Xenoblade, like the more typical.
There's the thing. Well, Xenoblade as an RPG is extremely unique. It works on its own, very own specific gameplay system, which turns off a lot of people because we see this HUD with so many writings here and there, and oh my god, what am I supposed to do? But both X, Xenoblade X, and more recently 2, managed to prove that the franchise still has a solid life. Maybe 2 wasn't, from what I heard, as big of an impact as the first one. But honestly, it's equally fine, if you ask me. I mean, it went on a more Tales-off approach, both in presentation and type of story. Monolith these days, to say that Monolith has surpassed a bit its early phases of, wanting to kill God, and try to do something a bit more different. Mind you, it's still present as a message, but not in a direct way. It's not Xenogears level, where, the people are oppressed, and the Nietzschean-esque message is very rampant. No, it's its own kind of thing, let's just say that. But honestly, again, it's more like a Tales-of game, Xenoblade 2, if you ask me.
It is. Well, not just that. They even got Nomura as a guest character designer for that.
Yeah,
of all people.
And it kind of shows in the sense of the characters that he designed, they stick out immediately from what they have in a good way.
Let me just.
Remember
Takahashi. Well, remember too. Takahashi was at Square Enix Squaresoft back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So maybe they met while they were working in some project
And recently, if recent developments are anything to go by, it seems that Square is finally sort of being more open towards Xenogears. Although, like a re-release or a port of modern system and PC would be appreciated, thanks Square if possible.
Well, we're already getting Romancing Saga and the Mana series.
Definitely. And Square even said in an interview they would love, if possible, to manage to have their entire old library available at some point for modern.
Does that mean I can expect a re-release of Marco's Magic Football? Because that would be amazing.
Does this mean that they're actually going to acknowledge Dragon Quest IX again?
And I can.
Dragon Quest IX is on the DS. It's a very accessible, easy game to get.
Also, more recent job. I'm talking more about games like Parasite Eve, for example.
Old game.
Parasite Eve.
Yeah.
And I can finally get a copy of Unholy War that works.
Yeah.
Imagine them actually localizing those titles too.
Get on it, Square. Get Way Forward to make a remake of Marco's Magic Football.
Lord knows if anyone wouldn't make it good, they could. I mean, heck, they remade.
Well,
It would be good for a remake of Unholy War. I wonder.
I don't know, Dweebs. I don't even know how the gameplay properly works.
What kind of game is it?
It's a hodgepodge, really. It's a strategy game. Not strategy, really. It's a strategy game, but it's also a fighting game.
Okay, Way Forward could probably do that.
Yeah,
It's
Way Forward manages to diversify with with the genre they apply to, so I'm not so surprised.
I was going to say that might be. I was wondering if the tone of that might be a bit too out there for him.
Yeah.
The reason
Maybe if it were a remake of Little Witchy Mischiefs.
One of their recent games on Way Forward was The Mummy Demastered, I think it's called, which is a 16-bit platformer, fighting platformer action game based on Tom Cruise's The Mummy, the Dark Universe. So believe me, Dweebs, it follows its own kind of story, and it's
in terms of quality.
Honestly, it's perfectly fine. It's an interesting Metroidvania-esque game. So, if anything, it tells me that Way Forward knows that they can do diverse stuff all the time.
The reason I picked Way Forward, Joe, is because Marco's one of the big trademark things about Marco's Magic Football is that he did a fantastic job in creating a graphical style that looked and felt like a good old-fashioned 90s cartoon, and it was so well animated, so well put together. Like, the game still looks gorgeous to this day. And I think Way Forward's engine that they usually use in Shantae would be perfect for it.
Absolutely. I mean, okay, it's not TH2. Way Forward are one of the people I trust the most with, remaking old stuff.
The range of studios that THQ Nordic has right now, I'm not sure if there is anyone in particular who can handle well, something like what Pedro just mentioned, for example. So I don't know. Like, mind you, a studio like Black Forest Games is managing to do a perfectly fine recreation of the cutscenes of the first Destroy All Humans. So who knows?
I could only imagine too. Like, could you imagine how many people would be so utterly confused?
And they'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Marcos? If Square at their E3 2020 conference announced, "Here and now, the re-release of an obscure classic, Marcos Magic Football, originally made by Dumark," and everybody's like, "What? What is this fake?"
Worst E3 ever.
0 out of 10.
So as somebody who missed out on that ever so magical commentary, well, what's exactly the big deal?
It was originally made by Dumark, a British developer. However, the copyrights eventually went on to apparently, if I remember correctly, when Square bought Eidos Montreal, they also bought the franchise rights to that, right?
Well, they bought Eidos in general,
when they bought Eidos, basically,
that's why technically they own stuff that they're barely any interested in, like Daikatana or.
To be fair, who is interested in Daikatana?
No. What I mean is that they acquire automatically stuff like Daikatana or the first Omicron.
Well, they did re-release Omicron on Steam too, so.
Well, hey, they also.
And even Daikatana.
I was going to say they released Daikatana on Steam.
Square Enix game.
So hang on, wait a minute. They can release Daikatana on Steam, but
not the Unholy War.
Yeah. Why Square?
Well, the thing about Daikatana,
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the code was lost even for that. Square even had an interview recently where they apologized.
I'm wondering actually, since Little Witchy Mischiefs was published by Bandai, did that cause some unforeseen rights issue with the game?
Possible. I wouldn't be surprised. But I honestly don't know. I know so little about the game that I'd venture myself into it.
I'd have to ask either Square or Toys for Bob for that, or Banker.
Holy smokes, that jump is tight to make.
Plays a good job, but the original game was made by a British developer called Doomark, and eventually those, through a multitude of different company bankruptcies and purchases and whatever, the rights ended up belonging to Eidos at one point. Then Square bought Eidos, and now as a result, Square Enix owns Marco's Magic Football. Except, as me and Tim have already discussed, I'm pretty sure they're not even aware that they own that, or that anything even exists.
You know what's going to be funny is like when they do eventually try to put every game of theirs onto the modern market, they're probably going to have to do an inventory. They're going to go, wait, yeah.
It's kind of like that list of all the Nintendo games that is in Super Smash Bros. Brawl that you have, and when you get names that nobody knows, like Doshin the Giant, that was for the GameCube, and everyone's like, what is this?
Yeah, don't even get me started on the
Or
Spirits
Star
list.
Tropics. Like, not even a Spirit in Ultimate Nintendo. Oh, a Power Star.
Actually, it's not a Power Star. It doesn't have eyes. It has this orb on the center.
It's a Staryu?
Apparently.
Wouldn't surprise
Weirdest crossover ever.
You know what's funny? Some of these enemies look like cloisters.
Mm-hmm.
That too. Well, I guess it's theme. I guess
It's more so the typical cartoony aesthetic that unfortunately Wario Land 4 dropped for the most part. Because the enemies in Wario Land 4 are much more inspired by Japanese folklore, which would be fine, but it's not really the kind of enemies that fit in this franchise. But so I don't understand why this didn't change.
You know what's funny, Pedro? In a sense, it's kind of a series going back to its roots, because as you recall, remember how Mario Land had a lot of enemies going on, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 5. Okay.
Yes, it is 5 this time.
Well
there
done.
you go.
And my prize, a stick.
Well, remember, another piece of a
Just my
puzzle.
luck.
Okay.
Right, maybe that part of the puzzle is a stick.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Hey everybody, we'll get off the cellar in the next part. So
Yeah.
see that.
Jar.